Welcome to Next Stop, SARTA's podcast where we talk about transits and all things related to it. Today, we're going to be talking about how do we keep the buses running on the road. We have Keith Zachary with us, maintenance supervisor, that'll give us some insight into that. Keith, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at SARTA?
Yes. First of all, I'm the maintenance supervisor. I am in charge of scheduling the repairs for all the vehicles that come. I'm also over buildings and grounds, so we maintain the buildings and whatnot. So, we do everything from preventive maintenance to major repairs.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming. We're so excited to have you on here today.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about, you said you guys do maintenance and grounds. What does that really entail? Sorry, building and grounds.
Right. Well, the
Building and
buildings and
grounds.
grounds, we have to maintain the SARTA's buildings, obviously.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
interior, we do everything from cleaning, removing trash, and, light mechanical work, of certain things and changing light bulbs and things of that nature. We also do our own like lawn care, so we don't have the landscapers. We do the landscaping, we
Nice.
mow ours. We also do our own snow removal. So
Wow.
yeah, so in the wintertime, inclement weather, we're removing snow.
Yeah.
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 So, as it relates to snow removal, do you guys watch the forecast? How do you plan out for that kind of stuff so you can make sure that you're ready?
Yes, we have to keep a constant eye on the weather forecast to know when snow is coming. And we schedule our guys to come in, off hours if it's going to be a middle of the night storm or something like that. So, we have to stay on top of it. We don't want to get caught off guard. So, we do not only the SARTA lots, but we also salt some city streets, some, to make it our buses accessible to certain areas. So, the city may not get to certain areas sometimes, so we have to take up the slack a little bit.
Yeah.
So, have you ever been caught just, where I guess are people on call sometimes? Sometimes all of a sudden you leave work and everything is fine, and all of
Mm,
a sudden at 10 p.m. they're like, "Guess what? There's going to be an ice storm."
mm.
Are people on call, or do you just always schedule? How do you do that? Because I know sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, "Oh, so it snowed last
Yeah.
night, and now I got to
Yeah.
come out here and shovel my driveway."
Well, we try to stay on top of it, but if not, and yes, we have certain people that, yeah, we'll call, like if we have a guy that starts, 6 a.m. in the morning, we may have to call him at night and say, hey, can you come in earlier? Come
Mhm.
in a few hours earlier to take care of what needs to be done, and he'll get overtime for the time that he comes in, and works extra,
Yeah.
you know.
I know that I can't even remember a time where I've been here where it's been a bad storm and you couldn't get into the transit center or the
Mhm.
buses couldn't get out. So I think that whatever process you guys have
Mhm.
works really well so that the weather doesn't affect the ability for the buses to get out, at least from our properties.
Right.
And I also think that, the lawn care too, leaves and cutting grass and weeds, I don't do that. I think we do a really good job maintaining that because when you go to almost all of our properties, they look very well taken care of.
They do. They
So I
really
think
Well,
that
do.
we,
thank you. I
we do a really
appreciate
good
Yeah.
job with that.
because I'm over top of that. So thank you for saying. It is. It's a constant struggle to make sure everything is taken care of. I mean, it's typically our all hands on deck sometimes, especially if it's a bad weather incident or
Yeah.
whatever. So, sometimes we may actually have to borrow from another department to help take care of, certain things like, when I say borrow, it's like, well, we got buildings and grounds. We have 4 full-time buildings and ground people. And so sometimes we may have to take a mechanic. He can run a snow plow or something like
Yeah.
that something to make sure everything runs smoothly,
Yeah.
keeps it going.
Because
So,
there are 5 buildings technically that you guys
yes,
are taking
currently,
care.
and
Yeah.
and it's really going to be 6 coming up here pretty soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
the new building.
Honestly, yeah.
so yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely full-time work. It's a lot. You got to, stay on top of a lot of different things. So,
Yeah.
So with all that stuff you have to stay on top of, do we have a list of, I mean, I know you guys do a lot, but do we also have vendors that we our go-to for different things?
yes, I mean, it's like say plumbing or drain cleaning and AC work, say like for drain cleaning we deal with Speedy,
Okay.
and so they're like our contracted vendor with us. So toilet backup or something like that, we're
Yeah.
calling Speedy. Standard plumbing and heating, they would do some light plumbing work for us as well as our AC systems and that. So if there's an issue where we're not getting heat somewhere, the boiler's not working or whatever, we're calling standards. Those are our 2 primary people that we deal
Go
with,
to.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we talked about the buildings a little bit. Now
Mhm.
let's switch over and kind of talk about the vehicles. I know we do I'll say the majority of the maintenance work on the vehicles.
Yes.
So, like, kind of give us a picture, like, how many different vehicle types do we have?
Well, that's we're at starters. We have a lot. So
Yeah.
I mean, we have everything from a regular vehicle like car. Automotive is just a gasoline vehicle. We have gasoline, we have diesel, we have CNG, compressed natural gas, we have hydrogen vehicles. So, and we're in line to get a battery powered vehicle here
Yeah.
coming up here next year. So all of them obviously take their own fuel, so they have to be fueled, different stations and
Yeah.
locations or whatever. But we handle that. So we have a different maintenance plan for each type of vehicle, kept record upon in our office.
And you guys work on all of those different types of vehicles in-house, correct?
Yes. There's very seldom time, that we'll actually contract out. Sometimes we'll contract stuff out just depending on the severity of it. But we do everything from changing motors, changing transmissions. If we do have, like, say, a transmission that needs to be rebuilt, okay, we do contract with an outside vendor that will do a rebuild transmission. Internal engine repair, just depending on how severe it is, we'll do it. A lot of times it's better just to maybe get another engine rather
Yeah.
than rebuild one, just depending on the cost effectiveness
Yeah.
of it all. But as far as, maintenance, we do it all. Only if we could come up against something that we'll have to, we're banging our head
Yeah.
and can't figure it out, do we actually send it out.
With all, I think you said 6 different types, maybe. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. Do you have, like, to have different certifications or training to do all of those? And I'm assuming do you have to come into SARTA knowing how to do that? Do we send people out for training? Is there retraining? Like, how does that work to make sure you guys are on top of those type of things?
Well, our training is pretty much in-house. It's pretty much a peer-to-peer. You do have to have, mechanical knowledge. Typically, our technicians are coming to SARTA. They'll have like a automotive degree of some sort or
Mhm.
whatever. So, they'll know or heavy equipment background or
Yeah.
something of that nature. And we'll actually train them to do what it is, the specifics that we need them to do.
Okay.
We have a preventive maintenance guide that we go through, and we'll train them to do the preventive maintenance and then certain repairs and different things of that sort. You start out at a certain level as far as technician. You'll start out at a C, and as you progress, you'll move up, and we'll go all the way through hydrogen. I think there's like 5 different tech stations. It's like a C, a B, A1, and then hydrogen tech.
Wow.
Okay.
You know,
So hydrogen is the highest one?
hydrogen is currently the highest one. And pretty much everything else is everything is peer-to-peer training until you get to A1. Then you have to take an inspector exam that's through the state. So you have to pass that
Yeah.
inspector exam. And then we have another exam that you have to take in order to work on hydrogen. And that's a test that we've kind of formulated in-house.
Yeah.
So, to make sure that you got understanding of what it takes to work on those vehicles, because those vehicles are, they're really electric vehicles. So it's like a lot of high power situations that you got to deal with. So we want to make sure everybody's safe. We don't want them working on anything they're not qualified.
So you do all the work on the vehicles. I don't know. I guess I'm guessing because I'm not there when all the buses come in. So all the buses come in at night. Like,
Mhm.
how do you organize them? Like, we have a lot of buses. How do you organize them? Make sure you know what needs to be worked on. Make sure they're kind of in order for the drivers to take them out
Right.
the next day. Like, how does that whole process work?
Okay.
Because how many buses are in the garage at night?
Well, there's going to probably be somewhere 100 it's over 100 something. Like
Okay,
it's not
so
quite
yeah,
150.
I can
but
barely organize my
yeah.
2 vehicles in
Yeah.
the driveway for me and my husband to move them out. So how do you organize these 100
Okay.
buses so they can get in, get fueled, because you said you fuel them,
Yeah.
clean them, do all of that, and turn them around so they're ready to go back out in the morning?
Okay. Well, that's that's a lot. That is a lot. Okay. Well, one of the things that, I guess I'll start here. One of the things is each driver has to fill out a defect card. Okay. And we'll start with that. So if they have any type of issue or mechanical issue with the vehicle, whatever, they're supposed to write it on this card. So, as a supervisor, I will go up and I'll collect these cards. The buses come in, they have certain parking areas that they come in
Okay.
from the roadway. And our service personnel will take it from there. And what they'll do is they'll fuel the bus, they'll sweep the bus out, and then based off of what's on the defect card, because then I'll let service know as far as if there's a repair that needs to be done. So then I'll instruct them to park it in a repair area. Okay. So if the doesn't need a repair, there's staging areas that we have them set for. So each vehicle has their location inside the garage that the service then would park them in that particular area.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it comes in, that's what they do. They check the oil, check the coolant, fuel the bus. They dump the fare box and sweep the vehicle out, change any waste paper bags that's within them. Then they'll take them through our bus wash. If sometimes it's not working.
As long as it is.
But they'll take them through the bus wash and then they'll park the vehicle in their staging area, wherever that would be. So,
Yeah.
and the other ones is set up for us to repair. So,
Yeah, that's a lot of buses. You guys actually do a really good job because we are always out. Those buses are always out on the road. You guys are keeping them moving constantly. So in my favorite, Woody.
Okay, right.
You guys treat Woody real good. And
Right.
it's not, I'm sure that's not something easy to work on as well, being that it's a trolley. And it's an old trolley.
Well, the trolley, being a trolley in itself is not the problem. Problem is Woody is old.
Woody is old, and I love him.
So yeah, Woody is kind of old, but they pretty much put him on the same type of platform that our buses are made off of. So, but Woody being so old, what makes it difficult is to get parts and different things of that nature. But yeah, we kind of treat Woody real special.
Treat him real special, and I personally appreciate it because I love him.
Okay.
He's our biggest attraction when it comes to my job.
Right.
So
yeah, it's a lot of intricate detail on wood. It's a lot of wood, so you got to be real careful.
Real
with it,
gentle,
so.
yeah.
A few things. So you were talking about we sweep the buses out, but I know when I'm there during the day, there are people that are like doing more detailed cleaning on the buses.
Mhm.
So is there like a schedule for that? Like every bus doesn't get that every day. Like how does that work? Do you have a schedule to say how, these buses do it this often, or how do you do that?
Well, what we do is we track the ones that have been done. We have a crew that works 6 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. and that's what they do.
Okay.
And what they'll do is that we'll have them. It's marked which ones were already done, and they kind of like ones that hasn't been done in a while. We'll have them get the ones that haven't been done.
So it's kind of
as
like
much as
more
possible.
detailed cleaning.
Yes, where they're going in there actually cleaning the windows, wiping down all the walls, the seats, they mopping the floors of the vehicle, thorough cleaning of the driver's area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a deep cleaning that we're doing.
And there's a
those.
schedule so that we know that the buses all get them on a regular basis.
Well, yes. I mean, because basically, let's see how many. I think we have like three people that does those. That's what they do. So what happens is that, when, starting at 6 o'clock, that's the first thing they do. They'll grab them and they'll just rotate through the entire fleet. When they get to the end of the fleet, they'll start over with the next ones, doing it again. It's a constant cycle that they're doing to try to keep them clean.
I know like in the area in the garage where you guys are there, we also do all the receiving. So is that does receiving fall under your area, or is that a totally different department?
Well, it is a different department, but we have responsibility in it also. Because we work hand in hand together.
Okay.
So, as far as like the computer work part of it, I don't do that. But, if we, have parts ordered or whatever that come in, or we have deliveries made, we'll accept them in and, that's a different department.
And
So
then
as far as,
how we track it and everything is a different department,
That's
but
a
you guys
different
will work
department.
with getting it in the building
yes.
and then letting them know, hey,
this
this
here.
delivery is here.
Right.
I'm handing it on for you guys to do what you guys do.
Right. So.
Okay. So my other question was, you were talking about all the different designations of the mechanics. So do you have all those designations?
Do I have them all? No.
So because and that's fine. Like I know that
No.
a supervisor, like I'm a manager of my department, but I don't necessarily do everything they do.
Right.
So in order to be the supervisor, you don't have to have all the designations. You
Right,
just have to know which designation is required for your mechanics to do whatever job, and you assign the proper mechanic.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, my job covers so much. There's no way I could have it all.
No, that's what I was asking.
There's no way I could get it all. But yeah, I mean, you have to have a knowledge of your workers, so you know who can do what and get them into the right position. And with that being said, you have to know what's going on with the vehicle or what's going on with the building in order to get the right person
assigned
to assign to that work. So. And we do a pretty good job at that, I believe.
I think you guys are really responsive. I know that anytime I've ever called,
Mm.
You're always like right on top of
Yeah.
it. Even
Okay.
if I come up with
Mm.
weird things, I'm like, okay, guys, I know that this might sound crazy, but, and you
Right.
guys are usually pretty responsive. And I think it's really helpful, especially managing
Mm,
all those buildings and
mm,
all the employees and
mm,
any issue that could come up with any one of those things.
yeah,
So a bus gets in an accident and needs body work. Do
mhm.
we do body work?
We do not do the body work. We'll contract the body work out to a vendor and have them take care of it. Only thing that we have that's regarding that is that we're responsible for the vehicles that's on the road also. Okay. And that's the thing. So it's just like if there's a bus that breaks down on the road, we have to respond to that. It's either just depending on the issue that's going on with it, we may be able to talk to the driver on the road to get them through whatever situation, get the bus back to the garage, or we may actually have to have Canton Towing go
Come
out
out.
and tow the vehicle back or whatever. Or I may have to send my technicians out on the road in order to see what the issue is and
Yeah.
try to get the bus back. But yeah, if there's a situation where there's like an accident out, primarily that's what we're going to do. We're going to have Canton Towing bring the bus back in, and we'll have insurance estimators come down and check everything
Yeah.
out. And we'll have the bus contracted to go out to whatever vendor that would specialize in the damage that was done to it.
Do we have a tow truck that we use, and do people drive that sometime?
We do have a tow truck. We used to do all of our own towing. It became more cost effective to contract it out, to have someone else do. Certain things we still will take the tow truck out for. If there's like, especially bad weather, vehicle slides into a ditch or something, we can take our tow truck and we
Okay.
can pull it out of a ditch. Smaller vehicles that we can actually hook up to and bring them. We don't have our bigger tow truck now. So as
Uh-huh.
far as towing the big buses, we don't have a tow truck right now that's safe enough to tow those. So
Don't you have a different designation CDL to drive a tow truck to tow a vehicle?
to tow a commercial bus, you do have to have a Class A CDL.
And so what do you have to drive just to drive a
To
bus?
drive it, you only need a Class B.
Okay, so okay,
Okay.
I thought there were different designations. I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure
Yeah,
because
there's
I'm kind of speaking out of turn here. Just
no, you're smart.
what I
You're
thought I
good.
heard somebody say.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, all of our drivers and all of our technicians have to have their Class B CDL with a passenger endorsement. So everybody at SARTA that's behind the wheel of a bus have to have that. The only exception was like the ones that can drive the tow truck. So,
Okay.
and all of our technicians, they used to have their A, with a passenger endorsement. But since we don't, do all of our own towing now, I say about half of them have the A
Okay.
now and half of them only have the B.
Wow, Keith, so much information. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us about buildings and grounds and maintenance and a lot of information that I didn't know. So that was a learning experience for me as well. So thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Keith. I think the information you shared was helpful to us and to our listeners just to give some insight into what happens behind the scenes. I think people see the buses out on the road and they don't necessarily know all the work it takes behind the
Yeah.
scenes to make sure that those buses are out on the road, to make sure that the transit centers look nice and they're taken care of, and that even when it's bad weather, we can still get out to it if we use transit. So I think that insight is really helpful for everyone to be able to just see how much care we take in making sure that we're providing the best service in the county. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, that's our show. Join us next time on Next Stop.